South Africans went to vote on the 29th of May 2024, and the outcome of the election has shaken and changed the politics of South Africa forever. Front and center of this change is the unlikely veteran politician Jacob Zuma. Thought to be down and out, Zuma has risen like the proverbial phoenix from the ashes to define the future of South Africa. He was underestimated by the African National Congress, ANC, the oldest revolutionary party in Africa, which has ruled South Africa with impunity since 1994 after ousting the apartheid regime. The disruptor was going to be Economic Freedom Fighters, EFF, led by Malema, but it did not quite work that way. So how has an 82-year-old former president, dogged by corruption scandals, seemingly in political oblivion, won an election without participating? Welcome to a rather strange but important situation in the political history of South Africa, and the unusual and unlikely man who is influencing South African politics. The man known to South Africa and the world was born Jacob Zuma on 12th of April 1942 at Nkwasamalala in Nkandla, northern KwaZulu-Natal province, and the center of Jacob Zuma's current political base. KwaZulu means place of the Zulu. Therefore, KwaZulu was the original area where the Zulu kingdom was established. Jacob Zuma received no formal schooling. He was a god-holder. However, he taught himself how to read by looking at other children's books who went to school. He would later on receive informal political education through evening classes run by the ANC. He joined the ANC Youth League and the South African Congress of Trade Unions in 1959 at the age of 17. The ANC was banned the following year, in 1960, which led to the formation of its armed wing, Umkhonto weSizwe, MK, which Zuma joined and was involved with for many years. I'm guessing you are familiar with this name to be the political party that Jacob Zuma leads today. More on that later. Zuma was arrested in June 1963 near Zeerust in the present-day Northwest Province for his political activities in the ANC and the MK. On the 12th of August 1963, the sentence was passed, which was 10 years imprisonment on Robben Island. He was only 21 years old when he began serving his sentence. He was released from Robben Island maximum security prison in 1973, and he resumed the struggle activities against the apartheid government and was forced to go into exile in 1976, first in Swaziland and then Mozambique. He was later expelled from Mozambique and he went to the ANC headquarters in Zambia, where he served as the head of the intelligence unit of the ANC and underground structures. Zuma re-entered South Africa in 1990 after the ban on ANC and exiled politicians was lifted, as South Africa was heading towards its first democratic elections. Just 4 years later, perhaps his disagreements with the current president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, first surfaced in August 1990 when Mandela, Mbeki, and Zuma were abroad. Cyril Ramaphosa, then the Secretary General of the ANC, convened the ANC's National Working Committee and axed Zuma from his position as head of intelligence and replaced Mbeki as head of the ANC negotiations with the government. Nonetheless, in November 1990, Zuma was elected chairperson of the ANC Southern Natal region. In 1994, Nelson Mandela and the ANC were elected into power as the first black political party to govern the country. 5 years later, at the ANC's national conference held at Mafikeng in December 1997, Zuma was elected as the ANC's deputy president. Therefore, following Mandela's first and only term, Thabo Mbeki took over from Mandela as the president of South Africa in June 1999, and he appointed Jacob Zuma as the deputy president of South Africa. Zuma was widely expected to eventually succeed Mbeki as president of the ANC and as president of the country, according to ANC policy. In June 2005, however, Mbeki dismissed him after he was charged with 2 counts of corruption. Zuma initially recused himself from all ANC activities, but Zuma's extraordinary connection with the ANC leaders and its members led the ANC National General Council to defy President Mbeki by reinstating him as an active member and eventually as ANC deputy president. In March 2006, with the corruption charges still pending, Zuma faced trial on a sexual assault charge, of which he was acquitted in May. In September the same year, a Durban court struck the corruption case from the roll, stating that the state's case was not adequate. Mbeki's popularity was waning, while there was a groundswell of support for Zuma. On 18th December 2007, Zuma was elected as president of the ANC at the party's 52nd National Conference in Polokwane, Limpopo, replacing his nemesis, Thabo Mbeki. This spelled the end of Mbeki, as it was just a matter of time, not if, before he was replaced as the president of South Africa. The ANC won the 22nd April election 2009, and Zuma was sworn in as president of the Republic of South Africa on May 6, 2009, after President Mbeki had resigned the previous year. The ANC and Zuma were then re-elected in May 2014 after 5 years to a second term as president. Jacob Zuma's scandals as president are so many. Some of the prominent ones are to do with his Nkandla homestead, where he was accused of using tens of millions of dollars from government coffers to upgrade his Nkandla homestead. His other scandal was named state capture, where Zuma and the Gupta family were accused of amassing massive wealth and controlling state-run companies in South Africa, in a scandal worth hundreds of millions of dollars. The EFF, led by Malema, were particularly vocal, and they named the families Zupta, with chants of Zupta must fall, famously disrupting Zuma's State of the Nation address in 2016. He was also accused of spending millions of dollars buying expensive cars for his many wives. Polygamy is allowed in the Constitution of South Africa and also as part of the Zulu tradition. Zuma survived many attempts of votes of no confidence in Parliament as a result of his many scandals. On 14th February 2018, however, Zuma resigned due to internal pressure from his party, led by Ramaphosa, as well as from opposition parties. Corruption cases continued to follow Zuma after presidency. He was arrested on 4th of July 2021 for contempt of court for failure to comply with court summons. The arrest of Zuma sparked the July 2021 riots, which was a wave of civil unrest that occurred in South Africa's KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng provinces from 9th to the 18th of July 2021. 345 people died in the riots and 5,500 were arrested. On 5th September, Zuma was released from prison on medical grounds and ordered to finish the rest of his sentence at his Nkandla home. By the time of the general elections in May 2024, the country's GDP per capita basis was poorer than it was a decade ago. The official unemployment rate was nearly 40%. National scheduled blackouts, dubbed load shedding, had become a routine, and basic government services had collapsed across parts of the country, with water outages in several of the country's largest and richest cities such as Johannesburg and Durban. The MK party quietly entered the political scene in the summer of 2023 and was officially registered with South Africa's Independent Electoral Commission on September 7, 2023 by Jabulani Khumalo, the party's founder. The party is named after Umkhonto we Sizwe, also shortened to MK, just like the paramilitary wing of the African National Congress, as already mentioned at the beginning of the video. In mid-December, however, the notoriety of the MK party skyrocketed when Zuma declared that he would support the party in the 2024 elections. Zuma's support for the new party raised eyebrows as he was still a member of the ANC. The ANC also took issue with the party's use of the MK logo and the name. They sent a cease and desist letter to Khumalo that month, but they lost the recourse in court. Later on, the party's founder, Jabulani Khumalo, was ousted from the party by Zuma's supporters. Zuma has been able to maintain significant support among South Africa's Zulu population, the country's largest ethnic group. Zuma has long been able to combine his man of the people image with an appeal to tribal pride. He has always claimed to be persecuted because he is Zulu. The ANC has traditionally been dominated by Xhosa elites, and his supporters don t-shirts with the words 100% Zulu boy. On May 29, 2024, MK supporters played on the choice between Zuma and President Cyril Ramaphosa, who is of Venda extraction. In KwaZulu-Natal, the heartland of the Zulu people and the second largest provincial economy, MK captured nearly 46% of the vote. MK also won significant votes in Gauteng, the country's economic powerhouse, and is the second largest party in Mpumalanga. No single party gained an outright majority of the votes. The final election results confirmed the ANC's decline in support to just more than 40% of the vote, far less than the absolute majority it had for the past 30 years after bringing about an end to apartheid. The Centre-Right Democratic Alliance, DA, the official opposition, saw marginal growth in its support with 21.8% of the vote, and perhaps the most vocal party, the left-wing Economic Freedom Fighters, AFF, saw a dip in their support to 9.5% of the vote, thus leaving one winner, Jacob Zuma and his Umkhonto weSizwe MK party. The party contested elections for the first time and secured third place with 14.6% of the vote just a few months after its formation. Now, the question that is left is who will form a coalition with the ANC to form a government? As we recorded this video, talks are ongoing on coalition possibilities. The MK party is unlikely to form a coalition with ANC as long as President Ramaphosa remains in his position. It seems politics in South Africa has changed forever, and maybe it is for the better. Surely the ANC will start paying attention to the electorate. The people have spoken. We have to put South Africans first, said Ramaphosa in his speech after the elections. ANC may be on its way out, and that will be thanks to one man, Jacob Zuma, which is very, very ironic. I'll see you in my next video.